So brand new M4 MacBook Pros. I've actually been using this since last week when I was at Apple's event in LA. Honestly, looks super similar to my M3 MacBook Pro. They actually used the same box, weirdly enough. It's like the same wallpaper, same design. Internally though, with the unboxing, I think I may have spotted something new for all you tech lovers. Unfortunately, no Apple stickers, but I cannot remember if they included a cleaning cloth. I'm gonna say this is new for this year. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but other than that, you just have the same design by California in Apple. I also have a 96-watt charger, so the exact spec that I have, this is like the mid-range one. It also has a braided black USB-C cable, but let's chat about the options that you can get for M4. This year, you can get like a base chip, like the base M4, which I think is a bit strange for the Pro models because the M4 will eventually come to the MacBook Air. It comes in the new Mac Mini, which I'll get to in a second. There's nothing really differentiating it from the Pro models, which is a bit strange. So theoretically, you can still get a base M4 MacBook Pro, two different sizes, 14 or 16. You can get them in the two colors, silver or space black, or you can go to, I would say, my recommended spec. That's the base M4 Pro MacBook Pro. That's the 12-core CPU, 16-core GPU. That comes with 512 gigs of storage, 24 gigs of RAM, and Canadian dollars, that's at $2,700. And for the mid-range, like I said, for the M4 Pro, this starts at a terabyte storage. That's a 14-core CPU, 20-core GPU, also 24 gigs of RAM. You can upgrade it like this to 48. You can theoretically spec RAM up to 128 gigs, and then you're getting into the M4 Max, which those start to cost a lot of money. I honestly think this M4 Pro, like the base variant, will be the most popular option, and the biggest telltale difference, I would say, between this and the M3. Let me grab mine. You can probably tell the difference here. As I shift it around, it's actually the display. So on my older M3, this clearly has the standard glass. You can now get M4 MacBook Pros with the nano-texture. So we found that on the iPad Pros and the Pro Display XDR. So if you're a fan of the matte display, and I'll say if you work in a place with a ton of windows, a ton of natural light, it could be worth it, but there's still something really nice, really crisp about the saturation levels, the deep, the black inkiness of having standard glass. Personally, I'm a standard glass fan, but I do get if you want to have a nano texture or the matte display. Let me know. I'll kind of leave a little poll. I'll let you guys decide, sound off in the comments, but that is one of the biggest physical differences. In terms of the overall footprint, they are pretty much identical. You've still got HDMI 2.1. You've got a USB-C port on one side, as well as the SD card that lets you know that you've got a Pro model. You can actually see how used my USB-C ports are. This is typically what I use to charge. I really don't use the MagSafe, which you can see on the other side. You get the two extra USB-C ports and the headphone jack. And like I said, the form print or the footprint is the exact same. And the other option that you'll have to decide is the 14 or the 16 inch. And for someone that really travels like a lot, I just like logged 160,000 plus miles this year. The 14-inch option for me is the absolute way to go. If you're someone that uses it a lot at home, if you don't want a second display, having that extra screen real estate of 16 inches, I think, once again, personal preference, but I do love the tiny 14-inch. It's kind of like my go-to. The second biggest thing is, obviously the performance of M4, M4 Pro, M4 Max. So compared to the last gen M3, you're looking at a 25% increase in performance. Is it the biggest jump up? Honestly, in the quick time that I've used it, I've ran some benchmarks, I've done editing on Final Cut. For the work that most people use their MacBooks for, I still can't scratch the surface of my M3. I probably won't be able to scratch the surface of my M4. Do you need to make that upgrade if you're already coming from last gen or even the M2? I don't think so. We'll probably see like a redesign. We've kept this chassis now for a couple years. I'm thinking the M5 will probably get some sort of redesign. You can probably hold off. If you're coming from like anything Intel based, maybe even like M1, this would be a solid like performance upgrade. In terms of overall pricing, Apple has kept it consistent from last year, but we've got an extra little bonus across all RAM options. So from the M4 to the M4 Pro, M4 Max, those base storage RAM options have increased. So now they start at 16 gigs, 24 gigs for the Pros, and 32 gigs for the M4 Max. That's obviously a bit to do with Apple Intelligence, which all of these run. It's nice that we have like the base storage like upped. Typically that was around like $100 to $200 option that you'd always have to select beforehand, since obviously everything is kind of soldered on. What you get is what you'll kind of live with for the next 3 to 4 years before your next refresh cycle. So totally nice to see. And honestly, it was a very minor refresh, I would say, for the MacBook Pro lineup. Maybe big in terms of the fact if you like the nano-texture display, if you like that matte finish. That unfortunately is not a free option, so that will run you $150 US, 190 Canadian if you want that. Like I said, I am team standard glass personally. Same great keyboard, same great trackpad, the best speakers like on a laptop. It's hard to beat like the MacBook lineup. And in terms of battery, once again, with Apple Silicon, this will still last you, close to a day and a half, maybe even pushing like 2 days before charging it. It is so good. You can work on it fully untethered. Being a Pro model, like I can run my entire life, the channel, all of my social stuff off of one computer. And obviously it's pricey, but if you're looking in terms of like an investment, they are super hard to beat. So let me know if you would get Space Black, if you'd get silver, 14 versus 16, and obviously that standard glass versus nano texture. I think those are your toughest options. And for my favorite spec, which I'll leave on screen, like I said, it's the base M4 Pro, I think is the best option to get this year. If you want to stay posted for Mac Mini, which I think is the best announcement, like this thing is an absolute powerhouse for the price. Make sure you're subbed. That video will be coming up next. This way. I forget where the YouTube banner is. I'll catch you guys in that next vid. Peace.